Alright guys, so welcome back, and in the previous video I did promise that we will be running an actual AI job on the ocean network. So this is me keeping that promise, and for the job that we'll be running a batch translation job on ocean network, which is a decentralized GPU infrastructure. So the job is basically gonna take a bunch of text in English and come and translate that into French. And we're going to be making use of the Helsinki NLP model for the translation, and we'll be running it all in a decentralized environment on Ocean Network. So I'm just gonna go through the code base with you guys. We're not gonna write the code from scratch. I'm just gonna explain what each of these functions are doing. So as you can see over here, we have the resolve input directory, which looks for the directory where our input files are. It checks the slash data slash inputs path first, which is Ocean's runtime path, and then it falls back to local input folders if it's running outside of Ocean. Raises an error if neither exists, which is the file not found error. And then we have the resolve output directory function, which basically is the same idea but for outputs. And we have our extract zip function that takes a root parameter. So it basically walks through the input directory and extracts any .zip files that it finds. So this is what unpacks our text file.zip, which I'm going to get to later on. So it just unpacks that file after Ocean downloads it from our GitHub URL. I'll get to the GitHub part later on in the video. And we have the find text files. This walks through the input directory after extraction and collects every .txt or .csv file it finds and returns them as a sorted list, so they're always processed in the same order. The load text from file, this opens a single file and reads the text out of it. For .txt files, it reads line by line, one entry per line, and for .csv files, it looks for a column named text, content, sentence, or input, and reads from that column and returns a clean list of strings ready for translation. And then for the translate batch function, the actual translation step takes place here. So this takes the full list of text, splits them into groups of 8, which is the batch size, and feeds each group through the Marian MT model, the model we're using, and decodes the output back into readable text. And then we have the save results function, which basically saves the translation result in two formats: a JSON file and a text file laid out as a clean numbered side-by-side comparison, which is easier to read at a glance. And this is the main function, which is the entry point that ties everything together, and it resolves the directories, extracts the zip, find the text files, loads the model, loops through each file to translate it, saves results per file, and writes a final summary.json. And writes no with that, yeah, over here, writes a summary.json with totals across the whole job. So that's the algorithm right there, which we saved it in our algo.py file. And we have a requirements.txt file that contains the requirements that would be installed in the GPU instance, because this will not be running on my computer. And we have the Docker file that's just basically gonna set this entire environment up. If you go to the Ocean network documentation, I think it's pretty straightforward, and I think they did a good job at explaining what you need to do to set this whole environment up. So that's it for the code base. So I just need to explain that to you, and we're just gonna proceed into the next step, which is opening up Ocean Orchestrator extension. If you don't have that, you have to install it in the VS Code extensions marketplace, but I already have it installed and I have their icon here on my activity bar. So I'm just going to click that. All right, so I clicked on that and my terminal shows here Ocean Orchestrator is now active. So I'm going to, you can see a bunch of options here. So I'm going to select the project folder that contains the code that I just explained. And so this is that project folder, new compute job. I just decided to follow the normal naming conventions that I saw on the documentation, but I guess you can name this folder anything. So I'm going to select that project folder. It's just going to reopen it. VS Code is just going to reopen it. And as you can see, it is now a selected project folder. And we will now proceed to configure the compute. And this is where the orchestrator wants to kick us out to a browser so that we can select our instance and what we need. So I'm just going to copy it. You can open it directly, but I have two different browsers and my default browser is not where I'm logged into Ocean Network. So I'm just going to copy the URL, come here, and I'm going to paste it. So let's wait for this to get itself done. All right, so this is the Ocean dashboard. As you can see, I'm currently logged in. So that's over there. That's my uh, wallet address on Ocean Network. I could show it to you if you're gonna send me something. I'm joking. So um, we're gonna select an instance that works for us. I'm just gonna go with the H200 at this price. So I'm just gonna click on this to proceed. Okay. So I'm okay with all of this. I don't want to change anything. I'm satisfied with those. But you can change and select them according to your needs. So I'm gonna continue. And okay. Normally you would need to deposit funds into your escrow, but I already have funds in my escrow already. And so we can skip that process. So now it just wants to generate the auth token for me. So I'm gonna click on that. And it's connecting to your wallet. And I'm gonna sign and continue. Okay, so now I'm gonna open VS Code and I'm gonna say open the link. And yeah, over here we get this allow Ocean Orchestrator, just click open. And as you can see down, your compute job has been configured successfully. And so for the next thing, we need a dataset URL, which is basically the URL in which our dataset is being hosted. In our case, our dataset is basically a text file, but I'm going to zip up the text file and then I'm going to zip up the text file and push it to and put it on GitHub as a release so I can get a direct download link. So I already have the text file on I already have the text file here to translate. So this is to translate, which is basically the text file, right? And you can see this is in English. So the president signed a new climate agreement with the world leaders in Geneva. I'm not sure if that happened. And you can scroll down. Then you can see Ocean Network is making decentralized GPU compute accessible to anyone with an internet connection. I'm sure that happened. So uh, let's proceed. Okay, so I've saved this already, and all you have to do is zip this up, which I already have done, and we're just going to upload it to GitHub as a release. So let me show you how to do that. So this is my GitHub, and this is an old repository. You have to have a GitHub account, so go ahead and set that up if you don't have one already. And then you need to create a repository and just push something random to it. And then over here in your repository that you have chosen, this is an old repository of mine. So over here you can click on releases, and I already have a bunch of releases. So I'm going to click on draft a new release, and I'm going to select a tag. I'm just going to create a new tag. So I'm going to call this v1.0.6. All right, I'm going to create that. I'm going to call it translation v3. Okay, and over here, attach a binaries. We're going to click that, and we're going to attach the zip file of our txt file. So this is the txt file, and this is the zip file. So I'm going to attach the zip file. All right, that was quick, and that was done. I'm going to publish the release. So this is me publishing the release right now. So I can click on this, copy the clean link, just to show you that I was trying to get a direct download links. This is what I'm gonna try pasting it and showing it to you. Pasting the link that I just copied. It wants to download. So that was a direct download link. So I'm not gonna do that. So we're just gonna take that link, come over here to dataset URL, and we're gonna paste it. Okay. So now we have everything configured, and we can go ahead and click on run compute job. Okay, so upon doing that, we get an annoying error that says we don't have enough funds, but technically we do. I think this is just an issue of using stale data on the extensions part or something. So we're just going to try to configure compute again. So I'm just going to copy this, go over here, paste it, and you don't have to worry about making use of funds twice, because you're not going to deposit anything again. This whole thing is just a bothersome step to get you to redo it. You're not going to have to deposit any more funds into your escrow, as you would see. So let's go ahead, the same process that we did earlier. So I'm going to select this. Okay, I'm okay with all this. I'm okay with all of this. Just trying to connect to the node. All right, I'm okay with this. So I'm going to click continue, and as you can see, I don't need to deposit anything into my escrow because I never used the funds that I deposited before. So we're just going to generate the auth token just like we did in the last time. And we're going to agree and continue. And then we're going to click on open VS Code. And then open link. And then we go over to our alright, allow. So our compute job configured successfully. We're going to get rid of this error, and then we can run the compute job. I believe that should get it running now. And as you can see, it's starting the compute job with this ID and starting to build the algorithm image, as you can see. So we're just gonna leave this for a while and go get some coffee, because this is gonna take a while, so we'll definitely come back to it.
A few moments later.
All right, so we let the job work, and that took quite some time. So coming back to look at it, we can see that from the logs that we have successfully processed the our text file, found about 50 text entries, and it translated them in about 7 batches. Okay, and 8 text per batch, and the last batch was 2 text, and it saved the output in a summary.json file. That's the summary though, and it also saved the text file as well. So that's those are our logs right there. So if you come over here, you can see we can download the results. So I'm gonna go ahead and click on that to download the results, and as you can see, it's currently downloading. So we just have to wait for that to complete. All right, so we'll go into our folder. I'm just gonna open the folder compute job. All right, and let's see. All right, so just gonna lower this. I'm gonna get this down. Okay, as you can see, this is the exact same code base. This is the exact same code base. So this was the project folder that we uploaded, and this is the result that we just downloaded. And as you can see, they included the logs. So this is the algorithm.logs txt. I'm just gonna open it anyway with our inbuilt text editor. So it shows the exact logs that we saw in the terminal a few moments ago. And we have the configuration log.txt. So this was to download the this was meant to download the the data set. That's our to translate .zip file that contained the text that was meant to be translated, and it said all good with data provisioning, and we start uploading it to the environment. That's good. This is the image log.txt. This, I believe these are logs from the environment, basically setting up the environment from the Docker file. So as you can see, if you've ever worked with Docker before, this shouldn't look unfamiliar. This should be very much familiar to you. Um, so it set up the environment, it copied our requirement.txt file, and it started installing it. So it collected pip and started running the installation of all the requirements and the necessary dependencies. And if you come to the end, it says successfully built and tagged the image as well. So let's just go into our result output. So the first thing we see is the summary.json, which tells us the model that was used. So Helsinki NLP for English to French. So N to FR, that's English to French. So source language is English, target language is French, total entries 50, and files processed 1. There was only one file, and we had about 50 lines in those files, in that particular file. That was the summary.json, and this is the to translate.json, which includes the original text and the translated text. So I'm just gonna try to say it. I'm not good with French. So English says the president signed a new climate agreement with world leaders in Geneva. Uh, French says le président a signé un nouvel accord sur le climat avec les dirigeants mondiaux à Genève. If you're good with French, tell me how I did there. I think I did very poorly. um, uh, to the bottom, we have Ocean Network is making decentralized GPU compute accessible to anyone with an internet connection. And we can see that the translated version says Ocean Network rend le calcul GPU décentralisé accessible à I'm just gonna stop. But you can see the point there. My French sounds like Spanish. I'm good with Spanish. I should have used Spanish though. And they to translated TXT contains our batch translation results, source language English, target language French, and it's just basically the exact same thing as the .json, but this is in .txt. So as you can see, that's as easy as it gets to run an AI job on Ocean Network. And let's just go to our Ocean Network dashboard to show you that the job did in fact run. So I'm just gonna click here. I'm gonna see my profile. Okay, so this is my profile right here, and I have I've run about 7 jobs in total, and I've always had 100% successful job rate. And let's see my jobs. Yeah, as you can see, this is a job I ran today. So this 27th of June 2026, and yeah, that was that. And so this is just how easy it is to run an AI job on Ocean Network. The developer experience is very fluid. I only had to leave the editor only once when I had to select the resources I needed, and I could download the results as well as the logs, everything directly from my editor. So kudos to Ocean Network for putting this all together. It's a great platform. If I had any recommendations, it would be about the step in which we had to go back to select our GPU instance again, even though we didn't have to pay. But I think they could work on that and make it better. But overall, this was a very nice experience.